Hello everyone and welcome to the round 13 roundup reaction stream. Hopefully you're all doing well out there. A few differences in my team compared to what I thought it was going to be when I entered into this round. Of course, some late drama yesterday with Dylan Edwards and confirmation that he's going to be out for New South Wales. Teddy getting rushed back in obviously caused big dramas for everyone. So hence why I've got Captain Joey Manu, who, you know what, I actually would have been better off if I just stuck with my original, which was going to be if Teddy wasn't there and I didn't get mine, it was Captain Sam Walker, but only 35 points or 36 points better off there, so not too bad. But good to see so many of you already in the chat, which is awesome. Jake Young, Mr. Callio, Jack, Davey K, Mark Lawless, Joey Manu fan, very apt username during this bye period now, if Teddy stays in this Origin team. Ethan, Where's the Spin, Andrew G, Dunn F, 913, 1078, Captain Manu let down. Don't worry, Where's the Spin? Look, 1078 I think is a really, really big score for this week. I think you'll be definitely seeing some green arrows. Most of the scores I'm seeing are probably in the 800s to 900s. So like I've got a poll up at the moment, so chuck your vote in there for what you scored. 33% of you at the moment, 800 to 900, and then you've got 900 to 1,000 as 41%. So that seems the majority. I'm kind of in the slightly upper end of that, I guess, if you want to call it, 965, so just above that 950. Which feels like a good score, and confirming that 965 does not include your bottom scoring players, because I actually just did quick calculation on my calculator app on the phone. So my score of 965 isn't including Armstrong, Sean Lane, or Sam Hughes. But front row actually in the end did really good for me this week. Curran 75 scored a try. Terrell May was huge today, 110, and Liam Henry, what a man. Kept him all season long so far, and he just goes and makes 69 tackles according to Fox Sports, which is ridiculous. So yeah, 76 for him. Brent Nico was the underwhelming part, I guess. You know, I was kind of deciding between him and Preston. I went Nico because I needed that round 19 number, not the round 16 number. So thinking very, very future, long term. But yeah, obviously Preston, scored a double, scored 109 points. If I got him, would have been clearing 1,000 points. Captaincy probably was the other one, but honestly, Drinkwater 107. I was never going to captain Drinkwater against the Roosters. I think we all thought that the Roosters were going to win that game. Didn't happen in the end. But yeah, look, it is what it is. That's footy. Things don't happen the way that we always expect. And I think Manu at fullback, like everyone's looking at that against this Cowboys team, thinking, rub your hands together, lick your lips. Didn't quite happen though. Only 54. He might update a little bit more with some tackle busts and whatnot. But very happy with Sam Walker's 91. 2 tries for both of my players, Dom Young and Terrell May, was very nice. Sarko's been a little bit underwhelming, but anyway, it is what it is. A lot of those players I just mentioned won't be available to us next week. So there's not actually probably a huge amount to wrap up, given that we had less games this week. And also a lot of the major players that we've got in our team for this week won't be there next week. Like all the Roosters guys are out, Dolphins guys won't be there, and then also the Raiders, if anyone had like a KO weeks or something. I'm going to probably end the poll there at the moment, but yeah, it's kind of even between 800 to 900 and 900 to 1,000. 1,000 plus for sure. I think you're sitting on a really, really good score. I think even if you're sitting above 950, I also look at that right now as a pretty decent score at the moment. 905 with 12 players. Captain Drinkwater is a really good score from Ethan. Also, Ethan, I just realized what your profile picture looks like, and I was like, oh, hold on. Looks a bit familiar. Benny G, when does Aman Talk's NFL season start? I'm actually not a huge NFL, I don't hate NFL or anything like that. I can sit down and I can watch a game, but I do struggle to watch just casual, play NFL casually. I'm not a super hardcore follower of it. Just too stop-start for my liking, which is the way that most American sports are. But generally, I follow close enough that when it gets to the playoffs, I can generally see what's happening, and I'm pretty interested. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, if you can call it that, for NFL, mainly because I actually studied for it a little bit during university in Wisconsin, of all places. So, of course, Green Bay territory. So, yeah, I'm a Packers fan, if you call it that. But yes, give the stream a like, as Andrew says. 1026 from the Real Keefe. That's a really, really good score. 1003 from Stefanos is also really good. Moz with 1013 with Captain Omanu. I'll take it. Yeah, any 1,000 plus scores are really good. Sticky Nicky with 1039, Captain on Walker. Yeah, Walker has been a really nice little trade-in for me the last couple of weeks. The game against the Sharks was pretty low, 45, but then since then he's gone 100 and now 91. Potentially with updates to come. And the Roosters have got a really good long-term draw. So I think people who did maybe Hines to him to free up some money this week, I think that trade is definitely looks like it's worked out. But obviously the huge news was the whole Teddy and Dylan Edwards situation. It was very, very tricky to navigate. And this is where, like, you know, look, I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm perfect, I planned my team very well, but I think I was lucky. And what I did was, so I had a Sarko play last night, and I originally had him in my starting side, not in my reserves, but I was actually a bit surprised by my own cleverness, if you want to call it that. But what I realized was if Teddy was a doubt and he was going to be out, Manu was who I was going to want to trade to, and I could do that because I had Ruben Garrick in my center wing, and he didn't lock out until the Roosters played. But the issue was that if I had Sarko in my starting team, he would have locked, and I could not have captained Manu. So what I did was I just put Asako to the reserves, and I left Dom Young in that active spot in the starting team, which meant that when I traded in Manu, if it was indeed that Manu was going to play fullback and Teddy was out, that I did the trade of Teddy to Manu, swapped Garrick down to fullback, and was able to put Manu into my starting team, which meant I could actually captain him. Now, of course, all of that being clever and whatnot, it didn't actually work out that much because Manu only ended up scoring 54, but it did work out for me, I guess, in that way, which is good. Does Teddy hold a spot if he has a blinder? This is the interesting thing, isn't it? Right? Like, if Teddy has a really, really good game, there could be very much a case of, you know what, just keep Teddy in there for game 2 because he's put in a good performance, and then, which is another reason why I think I wanted to go to Manu. Not that just because he's so good at fullback and it was a good matchup on paper. Obviously, didn't quite pan out that way. But if Teddy was going to stick in that Origin side, it meant that I think the Roosters do play round 16. It would have meant, again, Manu at fullback in round 16. And it would have meant more of Manu at fullback during this period. And we know how much better he generally is compared to being at centre. I think it really comes down as well to Edwards' injury. Like, obviously, Madge has showed his hand in that his first preference was Dylan Edwards, not Teddy. I've seen a few things already at the moment in terms of like how long the recovery. Initially, it didn't sound like a very serious. It didn't really sound like a serious injury. It was like quad tightness was the first thing, and then it's like a quad strain. So apparently, it's like what I was reading initially was 1 to 2 weeks, but they didn't want to take a risk with the 3. If the game was in a week, he could have played, but because of the whole, they don't want to take a risk of him going down during an actual Origin game. I think they just said it was very much a precautionary thing. But yeah, it sucks for Dylan Edwards. But then yeah, I've read other things. You know, I think Peter Lang as Benny says actually right here. Yeah, Peter Lang was saying something about 4 to 6 weeks. But I don't know. Like, my initial thought was it was not going to be a too long of an injury. But then there's a rumor going around that it's 4 to 6 weeks. But it's all been unconfirmed at this stage. So I think I'm going to say, again, as always do, we'll listen to NRL Physio in his Magic Sponge potty. But yeah, if it's a 4 to 6 week injury, yes, Teddy holds a spot and Manu does become very relevant. 0 out of 4 of tips this week. Let's go from Jason. Yeah, I didn't have a great week on the tipping, I think. Did tip Parramatta. Thank you for everyone who reminded me on that lockout countdown stream, because I thought I hadn't tipped. I actually had, but I had tipped the Sharks, and I was like, wait, no, I'm going to change it to Parramatta. So I tipped Parramatta. I did tip Newcastle. That did not work out. Bulldogs were I got 1 out of 5. Holy hell. Yeah, 1 out of 5 because I got Parramatta. Got Newcastle wrong, got Penrith wrong, got Dolphins wrong, and then I got the Roosters wrong. Not a great week for the tips. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. I guess going through my team, you guys have kind of seen most of what my team looks like anyway. I guess, front row was good for me. Second row was fine. Kuiper's ball was really good, given that he had no attacking stats, all kind of base power. And yeah, Sean Lane has just been extremely, extremely disappointing. Like, and coming off the bench now is just like, very, very gross. But there was some interesting things to take out of this Eels matchup. 100%. You tipped Cronulla. You tipped against your own team, Benny. How could you do it? Nah, don't worry. I've been there before. I have definitely tipped against my own team in the past. I understand. But yeah, Gutherson and Moses back for Parramatta is definitely huge. Although they have copped a few injuries in this game, so I think Bailey Simonson looks to be out potentially long term. And then what else? And what else is there? There was some news about Ryan Madison. He's been battling an illness, which I guess maybe is good news for maybe anyone who jumped on Bryce Cartwright, for example. This week he actually scored quite well with 79. I don't think he had many major attacking stats apart from, he had one line break assist. So like 71 base power is awesome. One of the biggest things though, obviously, was Blaise Talangi did not play a single second of this game, despite yesterday SuperCoach awarded him 2 points at one point, which was a bit random. Talangi, look, for anyone who's held on to Talangi, he didn't play any minutes, didn't get awarded any points, so he's still going to have not quite the exact same, but he's still going to have like a negative 20, negative 19 kind of break even next week if he does get onto the field. But I think hopefully we see again Brendan Hands getting named without Joey Lussick, because Brendan Hands played the full 80 minutes. People who went Lussick down to him, that did definitely pay off for you this week because you freed up some money. Brendan Hands had a break in, I think, in the 20s. He's gone and scored 65 points and pretty much all in attack. No attacking stats in there. So just kind of a quick look-see here. Yeah, he made 51 tackles, like a few missed, tackle bust. Had one line break assist, so he did get one attacking stat. But then, a few runs. But 65 minus 8, if you want to calculate his base power, what's that, 57 points. 57 base power is awesome for a close to bottom dollar hooker. He'll play round 14 as well if you're short on numbers. And he doesn't play round 16, but he does play round 19, which is looking a tricky week. So for me, if we again see Brendan Hands getting named starting team, no Lussick in the 17 at all, that could be a move I'd very easily make next week. Because Lussick's about 378k. Hands will go up. I think I don't have Jay Schubert's projected score in front of me. But I'm going to have a quick look-see for it here because it's very, very useful. So he had Brendan Hands going up 30k. So he'll be, 240k. So he's still free up like 140k. And he'll have a negative 16 break even approximately. So good numbers there for a trade-in for Brendan Hands next week. So he's definitely someone I'm looking at. Just pray to God that we don't get any more shenanigans around the dummy half for Parramatta. And I always thought Brendan Hands was going to be the one they picked with at the start of the season because I always felt like he offered more. Didn't eventuate, but Trent Barrett's in there now. And he's given Brendan Hands 80 minutes, which is awesome. Aman, how much will I drop from 635 with a score of 804? Yeah, Hamish, you might drop to maybe just outside the top 1,000. But remember, a lot of people who are high up might not have buy planned. Although a lot of the high-owned players, I guess a lot of people would have owned Terrell May, Dom Young, Joey Manu. They all scored okay. I guess Drinkwater probably would have been a popular one as well, and he surprisingly had a big score this week. Don't think many people were expecting that. I'd say probably Red Arrows, maybe just outside the top 1,000. 953 from Jack, which is solid. Sold Talangi this week, might need him back now. I don't know now that I've traded out Talangi, I traded out Talangi as well for Manu. I feel like I'm just like, sweet, see you later, mate. Especially if he keeps coming off the bench, it's just not ideal. Like the cash in will eventually. I guess that's what people are saying is that maybe Talangi comes back in, maybe comes back in at centre if Simonson has been out. Yeah, that's potentially true. So people who've held on to Talangi this week, you might be able to hold him on for a little more. At least hopefully you get round 14 out of him because that is going to be a week we'll be short on numbers. And of course, a lot of this will be unknown. Like I'm planning to do a stream on Tuesday because Team List will show you a little bit about what a coach is thinking about. Will they name their Origin players and then wait until the Origin game ends? Or will they just not name Origin players and give them a rest? So that's probably the biggest thing I think that will come out of TLT this week. Obviously, we'll have to see then Origin on Wednesday, any potential injuries or minutes or whatever happens in that particular game too. Am I tempted at all by Tarpany in round 15? Yeah, we'll definitely touch on Tarpany because he had a huge game. But I guess just quickly rounding off on the Eels side of things, Gutho was good. Brendan Hands, I think, looks like a great, maybe potential downgrade at dummy half. Dillbag's lost points. I think he lost a line break. Moses was good on return as well, so he scored 86. So people who took the risk on him, you obviously have done quite well here. I was kind of pitching Walker over Moses, which, look, you've got 5 extra points this week as updates currently stand, but you do get Moses for next week as well. Mike Sevo is a good pod for anyone. If he went there, he scored 81. And I guess, Sean Lane is just like, and part of the reason why I'm maybe looking at doing Brendan Hands in for Lussick just to free up money. I think if Fafita doesn't look like he's going to be playing Origin, let's say if Queensland win, play very well, Queensland and Fifita looks like he's not going to be in for game 2. Titans play round 16 and round 19, and they've got a really good draw. Fifita will be someone I think I definitely need to have in my round 16 team. And Sean Lane is probably a guy who I think I'll be getting rid of because he doesn't play 16 and he's just starting to be he's just an issue at the moment. So if I can free up money, say if I downgrade Hines to Hughes, Lussick to Brendan Hands, that might be enough to go Lane to Fifita. That's kind of a few early trade thoughts that I'm thinking. So from Joe Manu fan, I'm thinking at the moment this stage might be Lussick to Brendan Hands, and then this week see what happens with Nico. If he doesn't get named, by the Sharks, so he misses round 14, and then let's say he plays well on Wednesday and he's not been named. For me, that's enough to say he's probably going to stay in game 2. And then it's like, okay, he's going to miss 14, he's going to miss 16. Then maybe I'll look to sell Nico, go down to say like a Jerome Hughes. So then that frees up me like 400k doing those 2 moves to maybe get Sean Lane up to Fifita, something like that. It's kind of what I'm thinking, early thoughts. I guess on the Sharks side of things, not a whole heap here apart from, people who are looking at Mulatalo. The Sharks do have a good run coming up through this Origin period, and they do miss round 16, but they play round 19, which is useful, which is the main reason why I got Britton Nikora. Yeah, but he was a bit disappointing, only 44 points. So yeah, I think he's going to be someone who maybe I regret trading in, but I wanted to get a downgrade this week who I wanted to play, and at 44, not great, but hopefully he's someone who I can just keep for the rest of the year. That's one good thing. He's that. Unless anything changes, he's an 80-minute back row on the right edge. Sharks have got a pretty good run for the rest of the season. No really tough matchups. So hopefully he can just get back to getting some attacking stats. Apart from that, I guess some of the outside backs like Sione Katoa, Mulatalo, Jesse Ramian all scored pretty well. But centre is a pretty stacked position at the moment. Like me getting Manu in again this week, it's like I have no room in my centres. Apart from maybe Davey Armstrong. Because Armstrong could... There was a rumour, Barry Tui tweeted out, who's a very good... source of Newcastle news. He said that Fletcher Sharp maybe gets a run in, so that could hurt a lot next week if we don't get David Armstrong, because we're already going to be short on numbers. See if there's any questions out of this game. Are you tempted? Yeah, okay, let's get on to... Well, I've already kind of started speaking a little bit about Armstrong, but yeah, he didn't have the best of games, only the 24 points in the end. So yeah, there's some concern. I'm just going to find the tweet from Barry Tui actually. Some concern that maybe Armstrong doesn't play next week. Maybe gets like a rest or something. What did he say? Yeah, so someone asked him, do you think they'll keep Armstrong at fullback? Great support player, but offers... Well, this is the person's comment. Barry says, reckon Sharp a chance to debut next week. That's all he said. And Fletcher Sharp is someone who was rumoured to be a competition to Armstrong. I'd hope that Armstrong stays because, look, he had an off night, but it was pretty bad conditions, and I think he's shown enough glimpses of being a pretty solid option for the Knights at fullback. Tony Vo saying, you traded out Edwards for Teddy, had a birthday and you didn't reverse a trade. Who I traded now? Sucks when life gets in the way of Supercoach. Yeah, that's not ideal. Look, yeah, Teddy missing 14, and I guess I would just wait and see how he plays on Wednesday. If it looks like he plays really well, and maybe if we get some more concrete news on Dylan Edwards' injury, let's say Dylan Edwards is out 4 to 6 weeks, Teddy looks really good and misses and looks like he's going to play game 2. To me, for fullback replacements, the two that I can think of straight away who play 16 and 19, and I've got pretty good runs in that period, is Latrell and Ruben Garrick. So Rabbitohs have got a pretty good run. I know they didn't play this week, but it is probably still worth talking a bit about them. So if I touch on Garrick first. So if you look, so they've got Penrith in round 14, which isn't great, but then they've got the Rabbitohs they've got the Dragons in 15 at home. Then it's Rabbitohs. They do miss round 17, which could be tricky, but then it's Cowboys, Knights, Titans, Roosters, which is tough, but then Raiders, Warriors, Tigers, Bulldogs, Sharks. Someone like a Garrick you can bring in round 15 or even next week, and you can lock him in for the rest of the season. I think he is a season keeper. So he's probably one who I'd look at straight away and think, good buy coverage, good draw for the rest of the year, very good option to trade in next week if you are someone who traded in Teddy and wasn't able to reverse it. Latrell is probably the other one. Very similar price. He's more of a risk in that he could maybe get back into that New South Wales team, but also has got a pretty good draw. So he's got Titans, Broncos, who I think have actually not been the best defensively this year, so that doesn't really scare me that much. Then Manly, he also misses 17, so same as Garrick. Then it's Parramatta, Dolphins, Tigers. And then long term, probably a little bit, the run home for the Rabbitohs is probably a little bit tougher because you've got Raiders, Sharks, Melbourne, Tigers, Knights, Panthers, Roosters. So the end of the year is tough. But probably maybe the next few weeks are a little bit better, especially when you look at Latrell's got Titans in 14 versus Penrith for Garrick. But yeah, they're the two who I think I'll be looking at if you were a Teddy owner, and maybe it looks like Teddy's going to be missing more games than we originally thought this coming into this week. Traded Armstrong in this week too. Yeah, that is unlucky for people who did trade in Armstrong, because I think he was I was saying he's a perfectly good downgrade because he had a big negative break even. Looked like he had the jersey. It still could be the case. We're just hypothesizing. Anyone else hear that? I've just been talking. Was it another random fart sound? I hope not, but I've just been talking. I don't know what else has happened in the house unless there's a ghost nearby. I had to hold Teddy this week. Is he a sell to another fullback or centre wing? Very similar question, very similar answer I'd give Jack there to what I gave to Tony. I think it's really hard to assess now. You really have to see what happens with potential news on Edwards' injury, and also how does Teddy play on Wednesday. So it's a bit of a cop-out answer. I'd probably defer. Let's say Teddy plays meh and he could be back for 16. Probably comes down to your numbers for 14. Because if you're really short on numbers and you have to trade Teddy, it is a lot of money to be left sitting there. Yeah, again, as I say, I think Latrell and Garrick are probably the two ones that come to mind straight away. If you've got another centre pod that I don't mind as well is like a Brian Kelly. You know, if you've got the duels, because Titans do have a good draw, and they do play round 16 and round 19, and he's not someone who you'd think would be in the running for like any Origin chat. So I'll quickly show you the Titans draw since I keep mentioning it. So it's Rabbitohs, Tigers, Warriors, a bye in 17. Then it's Sharks, Parramatta, Manly, Dolphins, Broncos, Sharks again, Dragons, Roosters, Knights, and then Panthers. So it's only probably from round 22 onwards where it gets tough. But through this Origin period, I think it's a pretty decent run for someone like a Brian Kelly, for example. So he's maybe another pod that you can consider who plays 16 and 19. Those are the teams who you're interested in for round 16-19 is Manly, Rabbitohs, Titans, and there's one other team I can't remember that both play round 16 and round 19. If we're looking ahead now to the next major bye weeks. Probably not much more, I guess, in this particular game. I guess with Sam Hughes, so there was a tweet from Gus Gould basically saying that they wanted to manage Sam Hughes' minutes because it's his first year of first grade. He's been playing a lot of big minutes, so they just gave him they were winning. It was a really gutsy win by the Bulldogs. I must comment on that. But I think they just gave him reduced minutes. So he dropped out of my score this week, so he didn't really count for me. Him or Armstrong actually. Carraz, no attacking stats in there, so just a solid 45 in base power. Jacob Preston, we kind of mentioned already, scored that double, so really good for anyone who bought him in this week with a big 109. Reid Marnie, Tool Pro saying, is Reid Marnie a buy? Yeah, look, Reid Marnie is just like, he keeps doing it, doesn't he? He's been averaging 65, he scored again well, plays around 14, plays around 16, doesn't play 19. So if you need the coverage at dummy half, like, he's perfectly viable just based on what he's delivering. I think we've seen enough of a sample size. Like, a lot of us jumped on him last year when he had 2 good games. This year he's had way more of a good sample, and no one's buying him because they're pretty much burnt from last year. But like the price is a lot, like 628k. Jeremy Marshall-King scored really well yesterday. I think he's got 90 plus. He was cheaper than Reid Marnie. Marnie's kind of a solid option who's going to get you between the 50 to 65 most weeks, I'd say. But yeah, so he is definitely a buy. I think he's putting enough runs on the board this year to say, yeah, look, he's probably not a trap, but you know that it could happen at any point. But unless he gets suspended, that's probably the only time he's missing games because he loves to get in that niggle. But yeah, I think Reid Marnie is definitely a buy, but doesn't play round 19. That's probably the only thing I'd consider. Thanks for the tip on Preston Oman. That was one of your best. No problems, Anthony. Even though I didn't follow my own advice, I got Nickera. But yes, like I did say, like with Preston, I think while Kickout's out next 4 to 6 weeks, I think Preston is awesome because he's going to play that 80 minutes, like guaranteed. He scored a double. He scored 3 tries already in the last 4 games before that. So he is a try scorer. And the next 4 to 6 weeks, he's pretty much going to be playing that 80-minute role. The reason I went Nickera in the end was the round 19 cover. And my concern was that when Kickout comes back, does maybe Preston not play that full 80 minutes and it does instead come off the bench and play that middle role? Maybe that was overthinking. Probably now what he looks like is going to be is a good maybe stepping stone during this origin period, the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then maybe you can upgrade him to a gun for the run home, or you can just keep him as maybe a 4th or 5th second row forward. But congrats to anyone who traded him in. That was a really good result. And not much to speak of from the Knights, apart from Adam Elliott, 71 points, all in base power. If anyone's looking at someone who plays around 19, maybe Adam Elliott could be an option, but that's probably the only other thing I think worth touching on. Jaden Braley, solid 53, and Kai Piswell, really good as well. We all make mistakes, Aman. To help ease the pain of bringing in Schneider, can you say, Cookers, you got lucky this week? Don't worry about the context. Yeah, Cookers, you got lucky this week. I'm going to assume that's your head-to-head opponent. Just, that's me taking a stab at it. But yes, not much from the Panthers here. This is the game I completely missed. So I didn't watch the whole game. So everything I'm saying here is purely just based on the numbers and stuff. I already mentioned Liam Henry. Alamotti, maybe as people are considering. Probably the benefit during this origin period is that Jerome Luai is not playing. And so he's not going to kill his left centre like he was doing to Taylor May earlier in the year. So Alamotti maybe is a bit of a pod. Kicked a goal? Was he the goal kicker? Can you guys confirm that for me? Was he kicking goals? Because if Alamotti's goal kicking during this origin period, it's not bad. Although Edwards will eventually take it back, as will Cleary. But maybe Alamotti, if people jumped on him as a bit of a pod, not a terrible price. Centre wing is just stacked as well. Thanks, brother. I'm smiling now. Nah, you're all good, Matt. Jerome Hughes chat. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Jerome Hughes. I spoke a little bit about him. Someone was asking about early trade thoughts, so I mentioned him a little bit earlier in the stream as well. But he'll be definitely a hot target. I guess probably what we'll try to do more on the Tuesday stream is, who are now the guys to be prioritizing from round 14. Looking ahead to the round 14 weeks, the round 16, round 19 as well. Alamotti was goal kicking. Okay, cool. I read something online that he was apparently a goal kicker when he was in juniors, and pretty good. So he did kick a goal as well. So that is interesting. Personally, I've probably got no space in my centre wing, pending what happens to Armstrong, because he could be maybe someone I do look to offload if he is not in the team anymore. Apart from that, though, most of my centres are pretty locked in during the next few weeks. I guess on the Dragon side of things, so Jack DeBellin was probably one a few people were looking at. I remember on Tuesday I ranked DeBellin, I think Lucas, Preston, and Nickera. I think I actually ranked Nickera bottom, and I still bought him. Crazy. But I think I had DeBellin at number 1 purely because he had the duel and probably the safest for minutes and just like a floor. Scored 81, pretty much all the base power. I think he had 1 line break assist. He had 1 line break assist, but he had 32 points in hit-ups and then 29 in tackles and 8 in offloads. And 1 try contribution. So take 12 points out of that, you're pretty much looking at, 69 points base power. Like, super, super solid. So I think anyone who got on DeBellin, you'd be very happy with that this week. And still could be a very viable target because I can't remember what the Dragons have in terms of coverage of buys. I have a feeling they cover round 19. Yes. So they don't play round 16, but they do play round 19, which is another reason why I was actually looking at him as well, because I needed more round 19 cover. Swift AU saying, I went to the Panthers game, but I didn't see Liam Henry get 78 tackles. So Fox Sports have got him down for 69. Fox Sports and NRL do it differently. NRL, I think, count those like third man in tackles, whereas Fox Sports don't. That's probably why you didn't maybe see 78 tackles. But look, 69 tackles, not something to sneeze at either. I bow down to my overlord, Liam Henry. 76 points, but you know what? That 76 points hits different to like a 76 points from like Dom Young today, for example, who scored 68. The 76 from Liam Henry was through grit and sweat. Not that Dom Young wasn't sweating, but like, come on. He scores a try and he's already on like 30 points. Liam Henry had to tackle his way to 76 points. What a legend. I guess Scott Sorensen, maybe some people were looking at him maybe as a bit of a cheaper second or forward for this period as well. 68 points, all in base power as well. So could be a handy number for people who've considered him. And Brad Schneider, just not the day. 10 points. That does suck for anyone who went on to him. And Jack Cole, pretty good score, 59. If anyone jumped on Cole, 2 try assists in that, he will make plenty of money. But hard for me to comment too much more on this game. I didn't watch a single minute of this one, and I haven't had time yet to go back and watch the highlights of this one. So probably leave it for that one. Someone messaged me on Twitter saying that they had held Jesse Marschke all season long. And I was like, how have you held him all year in halfback? But anyway, shout out to you. He got you 79 points. Henry, you're my ticket to Tarpany. I love you. Yes. So yeah, on Liam Henry very quickly, just if we want to talk a little bit about maybe projected prices and changes from courtesy of Jay Schubert. So he had Liam Henry going up 62k with a negative 20 break even. So I'm just going to remind myself of his price. 323k going up 62k. So he'll be about 385 with another negative break even. So he could be in the 450s. So Penrith don't play round 16 or 19. So I think with Liam Henry, what I'll probably look to do is hopefully, like if he keeps playing on the edge during this bye period, he could just be a hold all the way until round 20. Or what I do is I hold him for round 17, because round 17 is going to be a tricky week. If you load up on, because the teams that have a bye are Rabbitohs, Manly and the Titans. So, if you're going to load up on Latrell, Garrick, Fafita, a few of these kind of players, similar to what we're seeing this week in round 14, you might be short again in round 17. Whereas someone like Liam Henry, he'll cover that week in round 17. So maybe early thoughts on him, I hold him to round 17. And then maybe round 18, I upgrade him to maybe a Tarpany or something. Tarpany doesn't play though round 19. He plays round 16. And at the moment, my numbers for round 16 aren't actually looking that bad. So I might not need to load up too much on my round 16 guys. So yeah, Liam Henry could just be an indefinite hold all the way until like round 20, 21, and then we'll see what happens there. What I hope for, this would be fantastic. If he gets 2 more games at second row forward as well, he'll get, hopefully, fingers crossed, in round 18, front row forward, second row forward dual, and then he becomes so much more flexible and handy as an option. So yes, Matt Sherwood, I agree with you. Illy, Liam Henry. On the Dolphins-Raiders game, of course, this was pretty exciting just because of the whole Golden Point affair and plenty of attempts for drop kicks and field goals. Ewan Aiken, 89, really, really good for anyone who went on him. I think he only had the one line break. He had a try assist and a line break assist, but take even that out, like 69 points in base power. Like him, Jack DeBell, the exact same in that regard. Really, really good floor, good work rate. So I know people were looking at Ewan Aiken for this week, and he was very good. I just didn't factor him in because I needed to make sure I had the numbers available in round 14. So he's only that was the biggest reason why pretty much I didn't go for him. But he was good. Herbie Farnworth was also really good as well. Just the one try assist and 72 points. Marshall King, if anyone went onto him, you'd be very happy with that number as well. But of course, with the Dolphins players, they won't be playing in round 14. But probably not much to comment because you'll probably want them for round 16 and round 19. And Max Plath also very, very good with 71 points. All in base power. This guy is just a ridiculous machine, isn't he? Maybe he got more minutes because of the Jesse Bromwich injury. But yeah, I guess another, again, of course, the minutes, base power is also going to be inflated because of the extra time that we had, right? But even then, Joey Taps, he was still on an extremely high score outside of even Golden Point. I think he got 85 in base power, which is ridiculous. Yeah, so he had 110 points with the one line break. He got 100 in base power. And I think I've only ever seen that higher once, and I think that was Joey Manu. I think it was a game where Joey Manu was I think it might have been the game where he scored 190 or something. I think he had 110 base power because he had a ridiculous amount of runs. But yeah, Joey Taps. If we can get Joey Taps of 2020, was it 2022? 2022 Joey Taps. Can we get him back, please, if Ricky Stewart allows it? Because, I mean, to be fair, I never owned him that whole period, and he was just ridiculous. Yeah, it was 2022 when he averaged 66, but yeah, he was just on an absolute tear. So I think a lot of people are probably thinking about that, Joey Tarpany, and thinking, yep, he's the guy who I want to get back in during this origin period. Probably one to consider, I think, for round 15, given that he misses round 4. Both of these teams miss out in round 14, so probably not a whole heap to, I guess, unpack there. I guess shout out to Danny Levi as well. Got a try assist. I think he had a try assist taken off him, actually. So, yeah, he only has the one try assist now. He actually had 2 against him. Now, I can't actually remember the one that got taken off, so I can't really comment probably too much on that one. But yeah, I think I saw a few people online saying that they thought he got dudded a bit in terms of missing out on that second try assist. See, James Salmon, my week gutted king. I think, yeah, what did James Salmon get? I think he got 50 plus, didn't he? Taps was in my team at one point this week. But did he make the final cut, Steezers? Did he make the final cut? That's the big question, isn't it? My best trade this year was Lussick to JMK. Yeah, that's a huge upgrade. I'll probably look to, again, subject to team list, I'll probably be looking to offload Joey Lussick, though, next week, I reckon. Especially, I mean, Harry Grant, I expect to back up because he'll be minutes sharing with Ben Hunt. But if he has a big game, for example, or doesn't get named, I'll be sure to dummy half this week, and I probably don't want to cop an AE. So I probably will sell Lussick from like a Brendan Hands this week. I can very easily see me doing that move this week. And then guys, I'm going a little bit faster just because I'll probably need to try wrap up by about 7:15. So I'll probably go from maybe another 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, there'll be other dummy half targets. Will also be like an Appy Coruscant next week. He'll be like 490k or 500k. And the best thing with the Tigers is that they play pretty much all the way from round 14 to like round 26. So that you've got them for all of those little mini bye weeks, post-origin games. He's 515k Appy. But yeah, you've pretty much got, they have a bye in round 26, and that's the only bye that you have left to navigate. So Tigers are good. Like Samuel Lafina, for example, I've already got him in my team, but I think a lot of people will be looking at him as a downgrade, either in second or forward or front row. Lockie Galvin, who I've got in my team. Now I think I don't really have a strong need at all to, I think, even try to upgrade him. I think I'll just be holding him all the way until round 20 at least. And the Tigers actually have a pretty good run as well during this origin period too. So Coruscant could definitely be a shout as well. I guess the risk with Coruscant maybe gets back into that New South Wales team, but let's see how origin goes. For today's game, guys as well, please give the stream a like if you are enjoying it so far. Just seeing on my screen, I can see 120 viewers, but only 16 likes. Come on, let's get those numbers up. Got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this bracket. Roosters losing to Cowboys is probably a big upset of the week. I think I guess you could say Dragons beating Penrith. But yeah, probably not quite the way the game went, I think, for a lot of people, or how they expected it. Very happy with most of the scores from this game of my players. So like Terrell May and Scott Drinkwater both scoring 100 plus. Shout out to Matthew. I don't know if he's watching right now, but I saw on Twitter he actually captained Terrell May, which is a strong shout. But I guess we saw with Terrell, I know Terrell May did score the line break try, but this is probably why we wanted to hold on to him during this origin period. Even more so helped by the fact that I think Spencer Leniu, we didn't think would play origin, but Collins out. Weir Hargraves did get like a hamstring issue, so he went off the field for a little bit. So I think Terrell May did play a little bit extended minutes. I don't remember off the top. I think he may have played at least 70, because he only went off the field for like 5 minutes, maybe maximum 10. It was definitely a big game in terms of minutes for him. But yeah, so very happy with holding on to Terrell May. Covers round 16 as well. So I think I'll be definitely holding him all the way until then. So looking at, 58, 75 base power. What a guy. We love that. 75 in base power. That's a really good performance from Terrell May there for our SuperCoach sides. Anyone who still owns him at least. Drinkwater 107 was involved in everything for the Cowboys. It was goal kicking as well, which is awesome. 2 try assists, scored a try himself. So yeah, really happy. This is one of those weird instances where like my team lost, but at least, so I'm not happy about that. But at least the guy who inflicted the damage, I at least own him in SuperCoach. And he scored well with 107 points. You can see I actually had the VC on Drinkwater because I didn't VC Dillbags. I had the VC on then Karaz. But then I think I took it. Oh yeah, that's right. I had the VC on Asako. So I had the VC on Asako, but then this whole thing happened with Dylan Edwards and Teddy. So I had to move Asako to my reserves. So then I had no other option. But to be fair, I was never going to vice captain loop any of the players that I already had in my team. And Asako, I didn't talk about Asako, but yeah, pretty disappointing. He only scored the 42 points. But yeah, so I ended up just putting vice captain in the same game and just thought, whatever, doesn't really make a difference. Of course, all of the players I had active in this game, I captained the one who scored the least. But I'm not going to play too much hindsight there because I think, look, if you said Joey Manu at fullback versus Cowboys, look, I don't know what the numbers became because of what happened in terms of Teddy being traded. I wonder if it's actually updated on the players page because generally you can see the captaincy choices. So if you look at captaincy in the top 10%, yeah, look at that. Joey Manu, as soon as Joey Manu became the fullback, he was 59% by the top 10% of super coaches. So like everyone knows, like when he plays at fullback, he is a gun option. So I'm not really that upset about him only scoring 54. Like it would have been a terrifying watch if I hadn't had him as captain. So I have no issues at all or regrets about putting the captaincy on him because we know how good of an option he is. I wonder what that number is in the top 1%. 71.5%. There you go. So pretty much everyone who had Teddy as captain, if they had the flexibility to go to Manu instead or trade up to Manu via Teddy, they were all captaining him. So, 6% only 6% captain Sam Walker, who scored pretty well. 5% captain Drinkwater, so they've done very well. But look, 72% of the top 1% of coaches captain Manu. So like, I think if you're a little bit, a little bit bitter that, Manu didn't score very well, had him as captain, could have gone someone else and he could have scored higher. Look, the top 1%, so people doing very, very well in this game, 72% of them captained him. So I think the decision was perfectly fine. Obviously, just didn't quite translate on the day. But, can't be upset at all about, like 54 is fine. And I think he will update most likely. Like the way that Manu gets his points playing at fullback is like tackle busts. So I have a feeling there's probably got he's probably got some tackle busts in there that haven't been paid yet. So like he's got 11 points. Sorry, he's got 11 tackle busts, so 22 points. That could easily upgrade to more. I'm also surprised he hasn't been recorded for a single offload. Actually, I don't remember him offloading, but maybe there's an offload or two in there. But yeah, he's got 22 points in runs over 8 meters. Maybe that increases a little bit. I can see Manu maybe updating to over 60. But look, it is what it is. Can't be too mad. But yeah, very happy with Trome. Very happy with Sam Walker. Dom Young, solid with 68 as well. And then, Drinkwater's awesome. You can see I Am Wheels here saying Finafuriaki repaying the boys. Yeah, he obviously scored a try with a line break. So very well there with 83. Lukey, not great, 33 points, but he did get sin-binned as well. So, yeah, not great for anyone, I guess, who used him as a downgrade. Apart from that, shout out to Purdue from the Cowboys, who I think on the commentary, they had to mention, I felt like every single time they had to mention his name, they also had to mention that he was 18 and on debut. If anyone else felt the same way, let me know. All I heard was Purdue, 18 and on debut. I'm like, I feel like they just want to make that rhyme. Keep going. Was going to sell May this week. This score changes that. I also was looking at maybe potentially moving on Terrell May in round 14 to Fafita via duels. But given the minutes that he played, apologies, my NRL.com website wasn't loading for me on my laptop. So I was trying to click into the match center. Okay, I think it's back. So yeah, Terrell May played 75 minutes. So he only had that one stint off for 5 minutes and all through the middle. I mean, I don't think 75 is what I'd expect. That JWH injury probably did help it. Because JWH only played 20 minutes. But look, Terrell May covers round 16. He's a number for that week. Another week where Spencer Leniu and Lindsay Collins may be out for the Chooks. I just think he's going to be someone who I probably hold for 16 and maybe after that I look to move on. But yeah, I think while he's getting these big minutes, I think he'll be staying in my team, and he can get these attacking stats as well. And the Roosters have got a pretty good draw as well coming up in the next few weeks. Probably not much more, I think, to comment on there. I guess I've already kind of mentioned a little bit about my early trade thoughts for next week, which is Brendan Hands and maybe Jerome Hughes. Someone I think earlier was asking about getting in Eli Katoa and Jerome Hughes next week. I think they are fantastic trade-ins next week. So the Melbourne Storm don't cover round 19, but they do cover round 16. And you've pretty much got them from round 14 to round 18. And they do have a pretty good draw as well in this origin period. So we're looking at Knights, Warriors, Dolphins, Canberra, Tigers before the bye in round 19. So really good run there. And I really like getting both of Hughes and Katoa just because of that stack. Hughes playing on the right-hand side, he feeds the ball on Katoa. For example, like today, I think I did really well when, Walker, he puts Terrell May through and then he also gets a try assist for Dom Young. When you get those kind of stack opportunities, it's really good for just getting those really big jumps and points, and it's hella satisfying, I'll tell you that much as well. And this is the thing with Manu as well that I failed to mention. He did almost score a try, but he got penalised for double movement, but it was almost there. If he didn't get double movement, could have got a line break try, could have been a different story as well. So Joey Manu fan very aptly says, he was one dummy half try away from 85. exactly. Like he was very, very close to a good score. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. When Teddy got unnamed, I put the C on Terrell from Boise. That is a great shout. I couldn't have actually done that because both of Curran and Sam Hughes had locked out for me. So yeah, I'm going to blame it on that as to why I couldn't captain. Although I honestly, Terrell May would have been my last of my Roosters players. I would have gone Manu, then I probably would have gone Sam Walker, Dom Young in order before I captained Terrell May. So yeah, I'm not really too bitter about that one. All right, guys, I think we've kind of wrapped through those games. A little bit of a shorter stream, but I think there's probably not too much more to cover. So I think we'll probably end it there so I can probably get to having dinner. And then if anyone else likes watching MasterChef is on at 7:30. So I'll be looking to tune in to that one because I do love my MasterChef. I feel like it gives me good cooking tips. Swift AU saying Blaze to Meany and then Ben Hunter Hughes and the 2-player outside Katoa. Yeah, exactly. You've got... You'll have Nick Meany. You'll have all the right-hand side players of the Melbourne Storm. So that could be a 3-way stack. Could be really, really good in that scenario. And yeah, Sam Hughes, I wouldn't read too much into the... I mean, look, he did play reduced minutes and he's kind of pumping out 30s. But yeah, until then, probably not really going to look too actively to do anything with him because he does play round 14 and round 16. So for the time being, he'll be enough to stay in my team. All right, guys, I think we're probably just going to wrap up the stream there. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back hopefully on Tuesday. Probably more of a target look at, team list should be pretty important in terms of, what players don't get named by coaches if they play Origin. And then also the ones that do get named, whether they back up or not. And then we'll talk a bit more about these targets now as well, who cover round 14, 16, 19. So early thoughts, the likes of Fafita, Latrell, Garrick, Eli Katoa, Jerome Hughes. We'll talk a lot about all of those kind of players on Tuesday. So we'll see you in that one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Give the stream a like as well on the way out. It does really help me out. And we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.